everybody, and thanks for being here. It's my happy duty this morning to introduce our first guest, who's not just a legend of Indian sport, not just a living legend, but also a playing legend of Indian sport. 17 years ago, when I started my career as a rookie tennis reporter, Leander Paes was already a towering personality. He was our Davis Cup hero, a David who had slain many a Goliath when he wore the Indian tricolour on his sleeve. He was ranked in the top 100 in the world, and he was an unlikely Olympic bronze medal winner at the Atlanta Games in 1996. Back then I once described Leander as a player with two legs, one volley, and one heart. But, I was aced, as I should be, by Andre Agassi, who called him a flying, jumping bean, a bundle of hyperkinetic energy. Leander went on to reinvent his career. He became a champion doubles player, first with Mahesh Bhupati, and then with over 100 different partners, including the great Martina Navratilova. In 1999, when he reached his fourth straight Grand Slam final at the US Open, John McEnroe went up to him and asked him, "Did you win, or is that a stupid question?" There is no person better than him across sectors, across professions, who can talk about the passion, the determination, and the will to win. So without any further ado, let me please call on stage the giant killer who went on to become a giant in his own right, Mr. Leander Paes.
Wow. This is why I love coming to Delhi. You guys rock. Can we also get a big cheer for our drummer over here, because he's keeping the rhythm. Well, actually, you're my motivation. First, I would like to thank the people that brought us together. I would like to thank Rekha and Arun Puri for the amazing job that you'll do to create new India. You are amazing the way that the vibrancy that you'll have with the group, in the way that you'll bridge different generations, and you'll motivate people like myself and all our youngsters to be the best that we can be. So thank you. Kalipuri, Kaveri Bamzai, thank you so much for really being the structure behind this organization, on the way that you'll put things in layman's terms so we can read it. But to all the youth of the country, this morning I'm here to share with all of you about excellence, about being the best that we can be, about the passion and the drive to be Indian, the passion and the drive to be who we would like to see, where India would like to be in the future. So I'm going to share a little story about it. I'm going to share a little story about a dream that my father had. As some of you all might know, both my parents were athletes. My mom captained India in basketball, all 5 feet nothing of her. My mom is the reason I got my seed. She was lightning quick, both with her feet and with her mind. Very clear in thought. My father played the Olympics for India in 1972 in Munich. The same Olympics that's been the only Olympics that's been shut down for 4 days because of terrorism. Out of every tough story, a good thing comes through. At least I believe so. I was conceived in those 4 days. It makes me wonder what my parents were really training for. So Dad went on after that to achieve a bronze medal, which he reckons was his biggest achievement. I reckon his biggest achievement was during those 4 days. But I was born in June '73, and before I was born, my dad would go out and talk about how his first son
is going to be a professional athlete and be the first #1 athlete that India has ever seen. Dad worked really hard with me since I could remember since I was about the age of 3. I still remember being in a crib with all these multicolored balls around me, and I had to reach up and get them. I didn't realize I was doing abs. Dad made it a fun game. Even till today, every time I come home and I bring home a trophy, my father's the last one to greet me. But I must say, he's the first one there for me when I lose a match, or when I have something not so good happen in my life.
Mom, on the other hand, reckons everything I do is fantastic. So I've got to be a little careful. So since I was a little boy, Dad introduced me to every single sport. I played for school in cricket, hockey, soccer, boxing, athletics. I came to school in swimming as well. There was no tennis at the time. I thought tennis was an elderman's game. I still believe that today it is. But at that age, when I was young, I was about 8 or 9 years old, football was my first love. If I got a football in front of me here, or any object, circular in shape, I guarantee you it wouldn't touch the floor for 15 minutes. At the age of 12, I was selected for a junior soccer program in Europe. And soccer being my love, I used to sleep with my soccer boots. I used to wake up in the morning and polish them and go to training with them. And at the age of 12, when I was asked to move to Europe, play for another country, and play for something that was more of a team sport, more for a club team rather than for an individual or for a country or for a flag or for you, I gave up my dream of a soccer player. It wasn't an easy choice for a 12-year-old, because at that age, all you want to do is have fun. At that age, you have no guarantees as to where life's going to go. And when I gave up that dream, my dad asked me, what's next? I said, tennis. I can assure you I had no idea what I was talking about at that time. And I said to Dad, I said, find me the best tennis academy anywhere on the planet and give me a year. In 1 year, I will tell you whether I could do this or not. My first year as a 12-year-old was hard. My parents separated the day I left for tennis academy. I lived in Chennai for a year as the youngest boy amongst 8. I was struggling to win games in the sets on Saturday, let alone matches. My first year, I got beaten up pretty bad. My roommate, who was the second youngest on the team, was 2 years older than me. And he was a great confidant, great teammate. And Rohit Reddy spent many nights with me, basically telling me on how I could learn the skills of tennis. He was a very talented tennis player, and as much as Rohit told me that I could learn the skills of it, I one day told him that we would probably play together. We ended up playing for India together, which was great fun. But it took me 5 years to really learn this art of how to control a yellow fuzzy tennis ball and how to make it dance to your rhythm. Tennis is a tough sport in India, especially back in the mid-80s. The infrastructure, the know-how, the knowledge of fitness, the knowledge of diet, the knowledge of sports medicine was not really there as much. But my father being a doctor as well as an athlete, was a big advantage I had. Using Dad and Mom's knowledge of sport, 5 years later, I became number 1 in the world in the juniors. And as much as my journey had started 5 years before, the real journey started when I was 18 years old, where some of you are today. While I was playing the juniors, I had the International Tennis Federation look after some expenses of travel, my coaches, my tournament schedules, my doubles partners, my practice courts. But the minute I finished the junior circuit and I turned professional and came into the big bad world of professional sport, I found myself very alone. I found myself in a small little town in Wolfsburg, Germany. I had about $30 in my pocket and a train ticket in my racket bag that brought me back home. I did not have any money to get my next train or flight from Wolfsburg to Garmisch, up in the mountains in Germany, where the first Winter Olympics happened. I did not have any money in my pocket for a hotel room. And that night, late October 1991, I spent living in the locker room of the Wolfsburg Tennis Club. The locker attendant was a 68-year-old man, about 300 pounds, beautiful smile, soft eyes, didn't speak a word of English, and I didn't speak a word of German at the time. And I had to find a way to communicate to him that I needed to spend a night in his locker room because I didn't have money for a hotel room. It was the middle of winter, so it's not like you could find a train station or a hotel lobby. But I managed to communicate with him by buying him a cup of coffee and just sitting and interacting with him, using eye contact, using human touch, using humanness. And before I could even ask him, he had 4 towels for me. I still remember they were green in color. One was for a little blanket, one was to lay down on the floor, one was to roll up as a pillow, and the 4th one was for a shower the next morning. He told me in his broken English that he was going to lock the tennis center because of security, but he left one window open on court number 5. And if anything broke out, there was an emergency, I had to jump out of that window. I was not jumping nowhere, I was staying right in. It was the height of winter at the time. But the next morning I made sure I woke up before any of my comrades or teammates showed up to the site. I was the only Indian at the tournament. I was the only Indian pretty much for about a decade playing on the professional tour after Ramesh Krishnan retired. But the next day I woke up. I won 2 matches that day, singles and doubles. I won 2 matches the next day. I won 2 matches on Saturday and 2 on Sunday, and I won the singles and the doubles. Until today, I remember the night in Wolfsburg locker room. It was pretty cold that night. And even today, standing in front of you with 31 Grand Slam finals, an Olympic medal, and representing you for 24 years, I will never ever forget late October 1991 in Wolfsburg, because it's a cold and lonely day when you don't win. What's the moral of the story? Many things. Moral of the story is, we Indians can be world beaters. 1. Moral of the story is, all you wonderful children on the left there, not children, you're young adults in your uniforms. You'll throw me off with your uniforms. It looks beautiful. But with the discipline and hard work we have as students of life, we Indians make great students. We respect our elders, we listen to them, we sift what they say to see what matters to us, and we try and incorporate in our lives what we learn from our teachers, be it in a classroom, be it on a tennis court, be it in a computer science room, no matter what walk of life we're in. we have to then incorporate and execute what we learned from our adults, from our parents. And when you go out there in any walk of life that you want to achieve excellence in, standing up here in front of you, the single most thing that I'm proud of is to prove to you that a young Indian boy from Calcutta with not much opportunity can be a world leader. Growing up in Calcutta with my parents, every time I wanted to go into the cupboard to get something for them, right in front of my mom's cupboard were 50 playing jerseys, all light blue and dark blue in color. Those are national colors to play in. Every time I went to my dad's cupboard, he asked me to get something. There were another 30, 40 playing jerseys, all piled up one after the other. Both of their playing jersey numbers were number 5. I added those two up, and my playing jersey is number 10. The conversation on the dining table at breakfast or dinner was always about being the best we can be. It's no wonder that I get motivated more for playing for the country and playing for my flag and playing for my people than I do when it comes to playing for dollars or myself or trophies. People keep trying to ask, they ask me as to explain this. When you're playing at Wimbledon, you say it's the greatest arena that you've ever been, you stepped in. They say that center court at Wimbledon is the mecca of tennis. You've said it many a year. But when you play Davis Cup, whether you play at the NSCI or the DLTA Stadium in Delhi, or whether you play in Fréjus in the south of France against a formidable French team that have 4 top 10s in the world, and you're playing on an alien surface, which is clay courts, you've never really grown up on the clay. What do you find as a solution to win? When I was younger, I didn't have an answer, because sometimes you just do what you do, right? You don't always have to find an answer or a reason to explain it, you just do it. But as the years have gone on, I've tried to break it down, and my humble explanation of that is, if you really deeply desire to achieve something, no matter what it is, if that burning desire is so strong, you will make sure that you surround yourself with the right team, the right people, and you will ask the right questions to then find a solution to be the best you can be. There's one person from my team here today, Gitika, who's in front, and I wouldn't be who I am without Gitika. I wouldn't be here today without Gitika. And I'd like to thank G, as I call her G-Star, and my whole team, my mom, my dad, my sisters, my coaches who have been with me 20 plus years. Rick Leach has been with me 23 years, my tennis coach. He's won 9 Grand Slams out of 19 finals. My fitness coach, Dave Herman, has been with me 23 years. He has coached the likes of Jim Courier, Pete Sampras, Tiger Woods, Ernie Els, Ken Griffey Jr., Shaquille O'Neal. The list keeps going on. My yoga master, Sanjay Singh, who's from Delhi, not far from here, has been with me 24 years. Surrounding yourself with a good team, surrounding yourself with good quality people, their skills do not have to match. Their passion and then their enthusiasm for excellence needs to match. You get people from different skill sets that bring to the table their speciality in their way. But at the end of the day, it's up to each and every one of you to set a vehicle of communication, to set a methodology of understanding what they're trying to say. And when you really ask them the right question and really understand what they're saying to you, then to break that down and doing it in your style. I wouldn't be where I am today without my team. And that's why I honor them every time I come up to speak. Playing for the flag, playing for your country, playing for your people is phenomenal. It's the greatest high, and it's probably the single most driving factor that's enabled me to play for 24 years. But when you really break it down, the passion to achieve excellence, as lonely as that road is, you got to make it a happy road. You got to find tricks and sometimes trick your mind into it by getting to know yourself really well to just set a spark off. Because once you set that spark to achieve excellence, the rest of your skill sets kick in, and then it becomes a rhythm. For me, before we get into the question and answer session, which is the real session I really love, because then I deal with specific issues, please take the time to think about your questions. We'll probably be able to answer about 20 of them. Before I get into that, the one governing theory that I've lived my life with is, if you can handle triumph and disaster and treat both these two imposters just the same, then let's play the game of life and play it hard. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Leander. That was as moving and as honest as ever. Fitly. Okay, before you're thinking about your question that you want to ask Leander, let me start by asking you a couple of questions myself. You've gone so far from this young boy to this, elder statesman. I don't like to use the word, but you are now, one of the only real legends of Indian sport who've continued for so long. How do you see changing India in the sporting sense? Are things just as bad as they were 20 years ago? Have they changed? You still seem to have the same bureaucracy in sport. You still seem to have not enough facilities. Does that bother you at all?
I'm an optimist, and the best thing that's happened to modern India is the enthusiasm that you all bring. Over the last 24 years, the number of tennis courts in the country has just exploded. In the last 2.5 decades, the awareness of fitness, the awareness of health, the awareness of diet, the inquisitiveness of trying to achieve excellence has just grown so much. And actually, I compliment all the youth of the country for that exuberance and that passion to want to be the next Leander or the next Sachin or the next Vishy. I think that sport in India has really improved. At the moment, we're at the crossroads. At the moment, I'm hopeful that we don't have to play under an IOC flag. I'm hopeful that we actually play under our own flag. And as professional athletes, we've always got to make decisions day to day based on what's best for us to perform. So really, I think that sport in India has grown so much, but now I'd love to see it get a little more professional. I'd love to see not just the numbers of people playing the game improve, but actually the achievements being at a higher level in the Olympics and the Asian Games at the Grand Slam level.
Leander, taking that forward, do you think that it is time for an athletes movement to take over Indian sport? And it's been going on for so long. You've fought the system on numerous occasions, and it was just because you were so much better than anybody else that there's no option but to do too much with a person like you. But there are countless athletes who get lost on the way because they can't fulfill certain demands, etc. Do you think it's time for an athletes movement, for people like you to take over the how sports being run?
I've worked with some wonderful bureaucrats over the years, and as much as we do see not as much professionalism sometimes, I think there are some great bureaucrats out there. I think there's some great business minds out there. And I think that there are also some athletes who not only can play their sport really well and have achieved greatness in their sport, but they can also transcend their sport. They can get into governance. What I'm really trying to get at is that there has to be a right blend of athletic knowledge, of legal knowledge, of business acumen, and also of bureaucracy. There has to be a system, there has to be a professional structure, and I think that's the call of the day. I don't think if you have an association where there's just only athletes, is it going to work? And likewise, I think if there's only an association of just bureaucracy, maybe that won't work. But really it's about the right blend of people who are aware of their sport, people who are aware of modern India, modern business, global training methods, and also setting a system in place. So there has to be a right blend.
Okay, let's take a couple of questions then from the audience. Who wants to go first? You want to pick somebody? This gentleman right now. Can you get him a mic, please?
I'll come to you.
Really, and hi. Since 96 Atlanta till the recent US Open, there have been many ups and downs in your life. The recent US Open has been the classic case. Still, I want to ask, like, what keeps you going? What keeps you going to achieve more? Like, and not, most of us would have, you know, retired by this time, or, you know.
You're a brave man.
No, not me. But, you know, anyone of that caliber would have thought to stop. But what keeps you going? And also, when is your next movie coming?
I'll answer that in order that you asked. What keeps me going? I think my passion for life. I think I haven't yet satisfied the hunger that I have to master the game of tennis. So if we're talking tennis itself, I'm 5'10" on a good day, thanks to Mom. I don't have a big serve, but my team and I are still trying to get enough explosiveness in my legs because I've inherited that speed and that explosion from Mom as well, to get enough explosiveness off the floor of a tennis court to be able to have a big serve. I don't possess a topspin backhand. I'd love to learn how to hit an open stance topspin backhand. And you know, generally when I say these things, people say, you're just making them up. But it's a true fact. Everything I've done in front of you has always been just true, Leander. Whether it's right or wrong, it's just raw. So, the day I learn to hit a good topspin backhand and I can do 10 in a row, I might think of retiring. The answer to your second question is, this morning driving to you, I got an offer to do another wonderful movie by a really, really good director. It's a good production house. Gitika and myself were pretty pleased driving here when we got that offer. But really, the essence is of quality, the essence is of maximizing your time. And now that I only play about 18 tournaments a year, which incorporate about 28 weeks a year, the other weeks that I have, I try and spend as much time with my little daughter, Ayana. I have other ventures that I do, and helping Ayana grow and making her acquire the skills that my parents, you know, taught me is one of the most important things in my life. Also, to bluntly answer your question, there is a graphic novel that's finished. It's on the edit floor. We've got a wonderful production house ready to bring that out, but I'm waiting for my next venture in entertainment as eagerly as you are.
Hi sir, very good morning. I'm Rajendra, and I would like to ask the question about your partner Mahesh Bhupathi. I'm sorry if I'm being a bit personal. When we started learning about tennis and all, we always, it's not Mahesh Bhupathi, it's a Paes Bhupathi. You know, it's like a Bhupathi and Paes. So Mahesh Bhupathi, it was like a Paes Bhupathi. So what went wrong, sir? You know, we were very, before the London Olympic, we were like, when we got this news about this split, and so that was not a very good news to hear. And so my second question in continuation of this only, your ex-partner, he went to, you broke and he went to marry Lara Dutta, ventured into Bollywood. So was it your venture as a Rajdhani Express was also the answer of that? So, thank you so much.
Morning, Rajesh. I think you asked many different questions there. Firstly, Rajdhani Express had its own journey, completely separate. And shooting for Rajdhani Express was a great learning and a lot of fun. Trying to get back to your first question, Mahesh and myself had 9 great years. We played really well. When he first came out of college, he wasn't sure whether he was going to go into tennis or whether, what he was really going to do with his tennis. And I remember we were playing in Jakarta way back in 1996, in fall of 1996. And
was it 95?
I believe it was 1995, that's
yeah.
right. Kunal's right here. It was the fall of 1995. And we were playing there in the fall, and he had lost the last round of the qualifying in singles, and he was going to go back to Muscat where his family lived. And I said, why are you leaving back? Stay here, we'll play doubles together, and you see how you go. Whether you get into the main draw, you can play in the main draw. And he was like, no, I don't have enough money to stay here, I have to go back, my dad's calling me back. And I was like, let's play together. At that point of time, I was top seed in the singles, I wasn't going to play the doubles, but I said, let's enter so that you can get into singles. But only on one condition. The minute we enter the tournament, we have to play to win it. For me, going to an event just to participate is no fun. If I go to an event, I go there having done my homework to win the thing. Long story short, that week, Mahesh stayed back, signed us in, he got into the main draw and ended up winning the singles, and we both won doubles. That showed me that both of us had the skills within us to win and do well and be world beaters. Cutting back to your second question, the Olympics last year was a very sad day in my career. The Olympics last year was a sad day in my career because, as Kunal brought up, politics should not come into sport in a negative sense. When you have a selection committee and when there are world rankings and when there are very clear-cut benchmarks as to who the best is to represent the country, the best team should go. Not the best team to participate. Because Mahesh knew at that point that if the best team went to win the event, to win the Olympics, that would have been Rohan Bopanna and myself. It meant Mahesh would have not got an entry. So hence the game was played such that 2 teams were sent as 2 teams to represent the country. And in my personal belief, not necessarily the best team to win an event. So as far as I'm concerned, not only did I lose out a chance to covet my second Olympic medal for you, but all of you lost out a chance for another Olympic medal. The third question that you asked was about entertainment. As an athlete, I'm also an entertainer. In an economy that we live in on a global scale today, India and China might be thriving. Brazil was thriving for a bit. But the rest of the world's going through a tough economy right now, whether it's in America, whether it's in Europe. And for every single fan that reaches deep into the pockets to come out and pay for the ticket, to watch me on a stage, to watch me on a tennis court, to watch me in a movie theater with a bag of popcorn in hand, I have a duty to them, I have a responsibility to them to be the best I can be. I won't win every match. Not every movie will be a blockbuster. But I guarantee you that every time I step out there to be the best I can be, I'm getting better, and I will definitely put my best foot forward. I'm not out there to please everybody. I'm not out there to make every single person happy. No, I'm not there to be fake. I'm there to be me. I'm there to do the things that matter to me. Whether it's motivating the young children, whether it's motivating young India, whether it's going out there into the corporate world to bridge a young kid coming out of college with aspirations and dreams to be world beaters for those corporates to have great foundations and great systems in place to encourage the youth of the country. If I can be the bridge to create better opportunity for young India, 100% I will do it. That's what I'm here today for.
Okay, we have time for just one more question. Somebody from the left this time? Back there, right back there. Somebody get them a mic, please? Yeah, thank you.
Hi, Leander. How many treadmills have you broken in your life?
Treadmills?
Yeah.
Wow, that's
fitness.
the best question so far.
Thank you.
I've actually burnt out 5 bike machines for bike sprints, and I've burnt out 3 treadmills, so there are 8 in total.
You have the world record of being the fastest in US Tennis Open Academy. So what's your points there? It's 9 or it's 8?
I'm sorry, say that again?
You have the world record of being the fastest in the US Open Tennis Academy. So you have a pointer of 9 or 8 or 10?
I think that's do you want to take this quickly?
Sure. Speed is something that supposedly diminishes with age. But there's certain methodology that you can use, whether it's using computers, whether it's using agility work on a floor, whether it's using modern training methods for eye-hand coordination, for eye-feet coordination. At the end of the day, it's all between your 2 temples. If the synergy between your body and your mind and your soul is intact, and you work on that every single day, there's no reason why you can't be the best physically that you can be every day.
Okay, thank you, but we have a special treat for everybody before we go. Before we started the session, Leander signed a few tennis balls.
Could I,
yeah?
Sorry to interrupt, but could I take one question from the front here?
Yeah, sure,
She's
sure.
had her hand up for right on the start.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, just FYI for the audience, what you just heard was the siren because time is up. You don't get wild, it's not an emergency. But quickly, last question.
Last question, please.
Can you hear me? I am a blogger from Cool Age, and my question is very simple. I am a major sports enthusiast, and as much as I love football and cricket, I feel it very sad how they control the lives of everybody in this nation. I mean, it's a sad truth. I just want to ask you, the anger, does it come that the whole nation just wants to see cricket on screen and somehow other major sports, as good as tennis, they somehow get sidelined?
You know, you're talking about 2 sports that I love, 2 sports I'm very passionate about. I think that cricket and soccer are doing a great job. Let's talk cricket, right? Because cricket's religion in our country. I think in cricket we got some great role models on the field as athletes, in the governance of the sport, also in certain tournaments like the IPL. To me is one of the biggest sporting extravaganzas on the planet. So as a tennis player, once watched the NBA, once watched the NFL, once watched the IPL, the English Premier League, the EPL, once watched sport around the planet. And what the IPL have done for cricket, where to me as an athlete, they've brought the Ranji Trophy player and the local player in the same platform to perform as some of their idols, like a Ricky Ponting, like a Sachin, like Dhoni, like Chris Gayle. That is how young athletes are going to get better. I personally feel that we should really commend and compliment and respect what cricket has done in our country, and rather than knocking them, learn from them. Learn as to how learn as to how cricket, a sport that is either played over 5 days, played over 1 day, played over 4 hours in the IPL, how they've ingrained themselves into the psyche and the lifestyle of our existence. I think that if any other sport can look at marketing skills that cricket has done to really ingrain itself into our Indianness, I think that the other sports will be as successful as well.
Okay, we really don't have any more time. The siren's already gone off twice. So before we go, Leander is going to have hurl some balls in your direction. He's going to serve them to you. And whoever makes the loudest noise...
Who wants it? Put your hands up.
Thank you so much, Leander. It was lovely sharing with you.
Do you like the surprise? Let's hear it again for Leander Paes. And before we let you go, Leander, from one winner to another, can we please request on stage Mr. Manoj Sharma to please give away a small token of our appreciation?